Hey everybody, it's Eric Field with New Patient Group. Going to take just a minute today to take you on a tour of an incredibly important resource that we use at New Patient Group. It's a resource that allows us to deliver our content, deliver our training, but also deliver so much more to the clients that we work with, whether those be clients that are using this resource individually for themselves, or if they're using it in conjunction with our in-office or go-to-meeting training services. So I'm going to take you through what's called our Practice Growth Platform. I'm going to take you through a customer example here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first off, every employee in the practice is given their own unique username and password, and that will get them into the system where they can then navigate according to things that they need to accomplish, areas that they need to be in tune with. There's a number of things that happen within the Practice Growth Platform, but it really kind of falls under 4 buckets. You got communication. We're going to talk you through some areas in here in which we really help to create great practice or across multiple location communication. We've got consistency. We really work hard in conjunction with our clients to create consistency from employee to employee, from location to location, whatever the situation may be for the business individually. And we've also got accountability. None of these things matter from a training perspective or a consistency perspective if we're not overseeing things with accountability as well. And then ultimately, leadership is taking the leaders within your practice, the managers, the CEO of your practice, oftentimes the doctor, and really doing things at a high level of leadership to make sure that the entire team is working in unison and with a single-minded vision together. So we're going to take a look at those different things and how they're built within this Practice Growth Platform. First thing I want to show you actually is how New Patient Group uses this specifically to deliver our own content. All right, now this is an orthodontic practice. We're going to jump into the Resource Center and into the curriculum. And within this area is where we house so much of what is the training process that New Patient Group has become very well known for, the consumer-based, commercial-based training that makes a practice so much more effective and efficient and honestly different than their competition. So whether that be things that we're well known for like our telephone training, so this is just filled with module after module of content that would help the team to become very skilled in a 5-star manner on a new patient telephone process. All right, I can kind of show you here if we dive into the folder that is the new patient phone call. This just breaks up into a robust collection of modules. And each module, so if we're looking at, say we're working on the transitional step. All right, so this is looks like about a 3-minute long video. And of course, these enlarge so you can have them as full screen. Ideally, we really encourage our teams to watch these together as a team. And so take notes as a team, have dialogue as a team, and then ultimately practice as a team. We're big on role playing, and this is an area where you can use the concepts and then role play right after. All right, now this is also our testing center. So each topic, generally most of the topics in here, also have then a little testing center. So we can, after we finish the video, go in and now take the lesson. And we can see there's a few different questions in here. I'll just go ahead and demonstrate by just kind of marking off a few of these without even reading. Hopefully I'll do well. Probably won't. All right, so there we go. We submit. Looks like I got, oh, hey, I did actually get 100%. It's good guessing on my part. But that 100% now for me as an employee is captured into my HR Human Resources file. All right, so anytime that you're assigning or asking an employee to do something from within this curriculum area, they would then be captured into their HR file. All right, this isn't just unique to our content. You're able to make your own content in here as well on things that you want to create consistency and accountability around and create a test associated to it. Okay, so just a quick example of one there under our phone section. But we've got our VIP patient experience. This expands into a huge portfolio of content. Our Invisalign growth program, well, for orthodontists, and we've got a version for GPs as well, very popular. And then our financial expert, basically what we call our financial university training on how to really convert cash flow at a much higher rate. So anyhow, this is an area where we really find value is being able to use it for our curriculum. But I'll show you real quickly as well. I mentioned the ability for a practice to do this on their own curriculum as well. So I'll go ahead and I'll click on the curriculum folder and we'll just add a new course. And I'll just name it something generic here, so for an example. Now we can give it a bit of a description of whatever the topic is related to. And now we can see we created a new course. All right, so now when we click on that, we'll go ahead and add a new topic. All right, so whatever topic might be beneath that. So we can kind of break this down into chapters, if you will. And then that topic can now add a new lesson. And those lessons can be written content. We want to list things out here. We can put them in bullet pointed manner, but also in video or picture content. Right? The video, I mean, how powerful is that? Whether that be something that you film using your iPhone and upload, or something where you're using a PowerPoint video and you're recording it like I am right now on a screen capture, or just loading a file, whether that be a document or a PowerPoint, whatever the case may be. All right, so once we now save this, now we can go ahead and start creating our test around it if we so desire. And it's just as simple as adding a question and then adding your multiple choice, whether that be true, false, or A, B, C, D. I won't do that right now, but we can now see that we've created a new chapter of a particular piece of content with individualized chapters beneath it that can then get more specific on criteria. Right, it's just a great way to uniquely specify training to your business, kind of like what you would see in a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A, as your employee goes through a digital learning curriculum first before they ever step out onto the floor where they're now in a patient interactive format. They've got to prove themselves a little bit before they're put into that next level of training. All right, now additionally in our resource center over here, I'm going to show you the continuing education. This is an area where it's what we call our Dr. Diamond Club. So for all of our clients, they're available and eligible to be part of our Dr. Diamond Club, which is a monthly collection of live CE, basically live business CE. And whether that be things like you're seeing over here from Brian Wright, our CEO, topics that are business-related topics. Recently did the 8 principles of consumer psychology. And so that hour-long presentation was then broken down into chapters or smaller sections of it. It's just a great collection of resources, whether that be book recommendations, articles, some clinical content. Dr. Regina Blevins, one of our clients in Minneapolis, and also the leading Invisalign team provider in the world, on a quarterly basis, she gets on here and does an Invisalign specific presentation, Invisalign sweet spot cases in this example here, broken into 7 parts. It's just a great collection of resources and things that we're constantly adding to and just making more and more valuable with time. So I thought I'd show you that real quickly. Again, that's in our resource section and continuing education. Okay, so let's go back out. One more area here in the Resource Center that you'll find incredibly useful is the office manual. All right, now this is something that gets built over time. Most of our clients are building this out quite robustly. Some use this just sporadically for a few things here and there. But this is where you actually build your office manual, your employee handbook, etc. Anything that's related to your business that you want your employees in tune with, this is the place where it's built out. All right, so we help to get things started. So we can go in here and look at an example here. Compliance and responsibilities, general employee expectations. All right, so we can go down here and look, okay, what's our policy in the practice on internet usage? All right, so this is an area where you load or type in your own specific criteria. And as an employee goes through here and reads it and verifies that they've read it, they simply go up and now mark it as read. It'd be like adding their initials on a document if it were being passed around the office or in an employee handbook. Now you can see that the topic has been read. You can also see over here that the topic of internet usage has now turned from red to green, indicating that I've completed that topic. And the fact that I've now accomplished this and marked it off, that has now been captured in my history, in my HR file personally as an employee. There's many things that happen within this section. I'll just show you a couple of items, like in the operating protocols for clinical. Right, is an area where you can build out tray setups. So let's take a look at this example right here. Okay, there we go. We've had a picture taken of the tray setup for BA, BO bonding with bands. And again, as an employee would go in here and verify that they have now reviewed this topic, we would mark it as read. As an employer, as a manager, I could look over here and see how many have read it, how many still need to read it. It's just a fully customizable system. And these can be either done, I'll show you here for a moment. We'll go ahead and just say we're going to go ahead and add a new topic. All right, whatever that topic may be. And again, we can write it, we can embed an image in it, or we could even go over here and load a video, and that video would now become the training for this topic. And so maybe it's, say, something like, for example, Invisalign attachments, where you want to have one of your experts in your practice recorded demonstrating how to do Invisalign attachments to a very high standard. Well, that video then is embedded in here, and that becomes your training for one location or all the locations you have and all the employees that you want to reach that same standard of excellence. I'll show you another area that we've added into this particular practice, our meeting agendas. All right, so whether those are meetings when I come in to meet with the practice and we're doing training sessions, or whether those are training sessions that they're doing in their practice on a routine basis called operational success meetings. But I'll just show you. So team meetings with Eric, we can go in here and say, okay, on May 2nd, we had a meeting together. Here's the notes from our meeting. There are action items that are built in here. We've also loaded it as a document over here and recorded it as a video follow-up for the team so they could go back and review what we had been through and action items that need to take place. All right, so it's just a great way to organize your business, organize your meetings across your practice. For somebody who missed the meeting, now they can go back in here and track the notes, watch the video, and stay in tune with the practice as they progress forward. Now let's talk about communication. And communication is something that every practice needs to improve upon. I've yet to run into a practice that I'm working in office or in other degrees of partnership that do not need to improve their communication. So I'm going to show you, we're back on the landing page here, and there's several places within here that help us to communicate more effectively. One of those is right here on the landing page, and that is just a place where a video can be embedded. In this case, it's from me, and I'll play this real quickly and just kind of get a quick idea of what we're doing. Hey guys, it's Eric here on Thursday morning. Hope you had a great evening last night. Off to a great start today. Just going to let you know that I've got a recap placed into your curriculum. Okay, so the idea there is I sent them a video after we had done a training, giving them some instruction and locations of where to find our follow-up and pull-through materials. But this could be a doctor doing a screen share. This could be an office manager giving a quick message on a Monday morning. And again, this is a place where people are in and out routinely, especially if they're using things like the clock-in feature. And so this is something where they would jump in, take a quick peek at the video, and just stay in tune with what's going on in the practice from a communication perspective. Now, in addition to that, we have the message center. And within the message center, there's a couple of ways to message amongst the team. The message center on the left here is basically like internal email. It's a place where you can send a message back and forth between one or more individuals. But the idea here is that these are topic-based, just like you would send an email with a subject line. That's what we have here in this case. If I go back to the message center, we also have the chat messenger area. And the chat messenger is more about having an ongoing thread of communication. So say, for example, if I go to front office team, and we can customize and create any collection of team members, and we can see here that I made a note to the front office team that I had done an audio training from our telephone call analysis, and I'd loaded that in there and just wanted to make them aware of it. All right, so we can send these by individual, or we can send these by collections of individuals, but it's not so much on a topic, more as an ongoing thread, like as if you had a text thread going on with a group of your friends. Now let's talk a little bit about accountability and leadership. There's a few areas in here that are going to be outstanding, amazing resources if you're a leader or a manager within the business. So let's jump into the task management section here. And again, there's two areas. We have the task manager side of it. And so what we have in here is an opportunity for the leaders of the practice, or even I as an employee, to assign myself a task. Just coordination, organization, and accountability. So I can go over here and add a new task, and I'll just assign one here. So we'll say we're going to do this due by the end of next week. This is a one-time task that I'm creating, and I'll just make one for myself here. Now, if I were someone, say I'm a departmental leader and I assign it to an employee, I could also then copy in basically one of the other, maybe it's an office manager or the doctor or whatever the case is. Okay, normal priority. Just make something up here as an example. And now I assign this, and here we can see that I have a due date of June 1st that I need to get this task done. Now I can see other people's assignments in here as well, but if I were the employee only, I would only see tasks that are assigned to myself. I'm an administrator on this account, so I can see everybody's tasks. So again, from a leadership standpoint, I can see what everybody has assigned and what the due dates that they need to be responsible for accountability purposes. All right, so we can see here, okay, got this. Now let's say I go ahead and I put it in process. I've now completed the task, so I go ahead and mark it off as completed. And again, every behavior that happens within this platform, the fact that I just marked that as completed has now been captured into my HR file from an accountability and awareness standpoint. All right, so anything that I've done, whether I've taken an assignment here, created something, done some statistics, all of these things are captured in my behavior of the HR file. Okay? The other area of task management is an employee checklist. Now, I don't believe this practice has built this out, but it's a really neat opportunity to create a consistent basis of things that just need to be done daily or once a week or whatever the case may be. So each day, so I could go in here and say, okay, today's the 24th. What tasks need to be done in the morning on a routine basis? So when we first arrive to the offices, there's something that needs to be done that we just need to have a little task list built around. Midday then would be things that should be done by the time we punch out for lunch. And PM tasks are things that, there's an example we had put in there, things that should be done by the end of the day as we're ready to close the practice up. Right now, this is how we're building them out. But as each of these are completed on a daily basis, the date would turn from white into green. Right? So if we've done everything on our task list, the date would now be green. And again, from a managerial accountability standpoint, any date that is white would indicate we hadn't completed everything on that day's task list. Now, I'll be honest, it's extremely difficult to measure accountability and to measure the effect of training that you're trying to coordinate on behalf of your practice if you aren't doing things statistically to verify it. All right, so this statistics section is fully customizable. It's intended to measure things that aren't just your big picture, big ticket items like production and collections. This is meant to measure the daily things that lead towards those big ticket items. So things that are going to happen each and every day that are going to in turn into the end result of business success and business growth. All right, now again, on the calendar basis, anything that's green indicates that the employees have fulfilled all the statistics that they should have on a daily basis. Anything that's white indicates that they've missed something along the way on that given day. So again, an accountability standpoint from a manager's perspective, it's great to punch in here and look and say, okay, what have we entered, but what is still missing? So we can see there's a few blanks in here, and there's several that are filled in, but we would have the accountability opportunity to go to those people and say, hey, we need to get those statistics entered so that we have all of our stats for the given day, and therefore we know that when we run monthly or quarterly totals, that we're going to have all the stats needed to get great results on those as well. All right, so some things that we might include in here. All right, obviously we still want to collect big ticket items like production and collections, but I'll scroll down here a little further. And how many treatment plans were presented today? How many treatment plans were accepted today? How many patients were scheduled? How many were no-shows? How many were late cancellations? I mean, these are all things that are incredibly important. If we're seeing a regular flow of no-shows, then there's a training opportunity to look at and go, what are we going to do that's going to help us to reduce our no-shows? And now we can measure if we're being successful moving forward or not. Right? So all these things are designed to give us eyes on the unique items that lead towards the big ticket items. And also these are built on a per individual basis. Right? There might be, so here we go, we got some assistants. We got a smile simulation scan presented by Carrie. And then there would be other statistics in here for the other assistants on the same topic. Right? So if you got 3 front office team members that are all working on the phone, well, then why not have the same statistics for all 3 team members so there's personal and individualized accountability for each of those people for conversion of the calls and just different measurements that are important to know about how they're handling that new patient phone call. And then once we've been able to measure stats over a period of time, now we can start to see these in a customizable, completely personally designed dashboard. All right, so just a few examples here. New patient analysis. We can kind of see, what's the trend in the practice. This is going to look at the month of April, and this is looking at the month of March, so you can make a direct comparison against the two. We can see here late cancellations and no-shows. We're able to measure some trends on that front. Smile simulations presented, so that's going to be things using the iTero scanner in this particular example. Referral resources. I mean, how great is it to be able to see where our referrals are coming from across the different channels as we handle those calls on a new patient basis. All right, so I think you're kind of getting the idea that we can create and customize and measure things that are going to be specific to the daily goals that then will turn into reaching long-term goals. It's a fantastic opportunity to measure things across many spectrums of the business. And all those things then lead us to the overlying umbrella of human resources. Right? If we don't tie together all these things from statistics to training to communication, if they don't all have some type of connection to HR, then we really lose the accountability factor. You can't really have a true training program if it's not then tied to human resources. Your management team needs to be able to stay on top of the different efforts that are happening day in and day out with the employees of the practice. So let's jump into our HR section here very briefly. I'll just go into the employee section as a quick demonstration and just pull myself up. Okay, so there's many things that happen in here. So first, any existing HR forms that you already have, whether those are digital or paper-based, those can all be loaded in here. So this can act as your library for anything that's existed in the past and anything else you might add to in the future. You can do performance reviews, right? So whatever your schedule may be, quarterly, 6 months, once a year, we can do our performance reviews in here. And these are all templated out, scale of 1 to 5, across many different topics, technical knowledge, problem solving, organization, not just the manager review, but also the employee can do their own personal review and then sit down and have that conversation together and be looking for the areas where that employee is being very successful, but also the opportunities for development and growth. All right, so those things can all happen from within this human resources section. In addition, things like write-ups or warnings. If we're seeing something happening on the clinic floor or in the front office environment that needs to be recognized and put to a performance review or a performance plan perhaps, those things can happen in a warning and then ultimately end up as a write-up as needed. It's all about documenting as well. We certainly don't want any of our clients, and we haven't had any clients yet, end up in a legal situation where there's an unemployment claim because of poor documentation. So we're going to make sure we give you every resource to use these for employee reviews and any other types of employee notices. We can take the employees and put in their clock-in settings, their break allowance. And this is important, again, from an accountability standpoint. So if we put in here Monday, 8 a.m., and they show up at 8:40 a.m., that behavior is going to be captured when they clock into the system. It's going to be put right into their HR file. It's also going to be noted to their direct manager about that behavior. Permissions can be turned on and turned off. So employees that should have access to many areas in here are customized and designed. As you can kind of see here, I have about everything checked on for myself personally, but a lot of these things would be turned off for the other employees in the practice. So they would only have access to the areas that they need to have access to. The curriculum. So you saw me take that test earlier, so my test scores are all saved right here. So it's very easy, again, for the manager to jump in and see how things are going as they've been assigned. Again, we probably would assign this through the task manager, and then we can review how they've done after their due date has come and gone. And then the last area is just being able to add some general notes to file. So say something happens today in the practice, we're still 5 months away from their next review, and it'd just be great to see notes that were captured in the moment, positively or negatively, to then add to their performance review when the time comes. Now, there's a lot more that happens within this practice growth platform as well. So whether that be in the HR section, there's many more things in here, timesheets, etc. There's so much more that happens in all these areas from a fully customizable approach. But I just wanted to give you a very high-level walkthrough. I'll tell you right now, half of our clients use this for everything you saw in here. They use all the details. They're building it out, whether that be a practice of 6 individuals or a practice of 6 locations or more. It's just a great resource to help run, manage, standardize, accountability, communication. But I'll tell you, the other half of our clients really use it just for the content that we put in here that is our curriculum. They don't necessarily see the need to do all the other things to the robust abilities that they are, and that's okay. We put it here, we train you on it, we enable you with it, we allow you to use it if it's something that you find valuable, or just simply use it to use the curriculum as we train with each other in office or as we train with each other through go-to-meeting type of sessions. Whatever's best for your business, we're able to help customize and work with you uniquely as a client. Hope this is a good explanation, and I appreciate your time and listening. Have a great day.